Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we'll be talking about professions in Dragonflight. And this blue post was released earlier today. I'm doing this the night of, and talking about more in depth about the professions. This is a topic I've covered a decent amount that I've kept up with. Real quick before we get started, my thoughts on professions in World of Warcraft. I believe like BC was probably the best professions have ever been. Ironically, in BFA, they were actually pretty good as well, allowing you to craft near mythic level gear from your, crafting professions, but only 2 slots of which, of that. It appears you'll be able to craft more in Dragonflight than 2 slots. At least that's, maybe it'll say something different here when I read through this, but that appears to be the case. And I am very much for that. I think crafting should be an endgame viable path. I believe that path should be accessible without doing the endgame content, which I believe in here it'll say that you do have to do the endgame content, or somebody does with a work order or whatever, fill a work order for you to obtain that gear. And I disagree with that, and I'll get there when I get there. I think whether it's a huge rep grind, having to farm tons of materials, or just put tons of gold into it, I believe those are all legitimate ways to get endgame gear. That becomes a little bit more tainted with the WoW token, meaning you could, pay a bunch of gold, buy all the items, and essentially buy all your gear, right? And that's why they kind of try to put the stuff on it. But I just think that there's other ways to go about it. For example, through also having a rep grind or something like that, forcing you to farm out things that aren't purchasable, or just having the items be buy them pickup to where you can't buy them at all. Of course, with the work order system, that still comes into play as far as buying them. So maybe personal rep is the way to go there. By some weird thing like old timber maul rep, just having to grind timber moss, and that's very annoying. But if you're willing to put that time in, then you earn the ability to craft this item. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. Let's go through and see what they have to say on the professions. So Blizzard. With Dragonflight development in full swing, you'll soon get a chance to try out the new and updated profession system in World of Warcraft. That means it's probably ready for the alpha, which is good. The system has been designed to provide greater depth and engagement, allowing the crafters of Azeroth to differentiate yourselves and stand out from your peers. I believe that's that's kind of what I was saying, right? Before diving into details of crafting, it's worth noting that there are 3 main pillars to revamp professions: crafting orders, profession specializations, and crafting and gathering with quality. In this preview, we're focusing on crafting with quality, but before diving into that topic, a quick summary of the other 2 for context. So work orders, crafting orders. I guess they're going to call them crafting orders. Before they were calling them work orders. Work orders are a new way for you to place an order. So I can kind of surmise this up or sum this up a little bit here. So with work orders, you are able to put in all the materials you have for something and allow someone else to actually craft it for you, but the item is given to you. And you also set like a commission for it. So you could say, I have all the mats except for this one really hard to get mat. That's worth like 5,000 gold, let's just say. So I'll put all my materials in. You don't actually trade them to the person. So you can't lose your materials, right? So you put all the other materials in except for that really hard to get material. Set the commission price. Someone, blacksmith, tailor, whatever, comes along, goes to the work order station, has that material that you need, uses their own material, crafts the item for you. You receive the item automatically like an auction house in your mail, I assume, and the gold that you deposited to get it crafted goes to the person who crafted it for you. So it's very auction house, ish, kind of like an auction house, but using your crafting instead to basically fill out an order. Also, if you have no materials, you can still say, hey, make this for me. I'll give you this much gold, make it for me. And the person makes it for you completely with all their mats, and the gold just switches hands automatically. It's basically skipping the idea of having to do it through like trade chat or things like that, right? Or just having everything be BOE to where you just buy it on the auction house. This can still be BOP, buy it on pickup, and it's just kind of switching, basically not ever switching hands. It's just all being done through this tool. So it's actually a really cool idea, and hopefully it works out. Hopefully they implement it really well. You'll also be able to customize by adding optional reagents. We see this a little bit here in Shadowlands, adding the optional reagents to like have your your item have like a special effect on it. I know like the rings, for example, in this tier in season 3 even have things on them. Like the 262 items, I believe, can have like special things on them. So you can do these kind of things with optional reagents as well. So now we'll talk about specializations a little bit. I don't know a lot about specializations. Profession specializations will allow you to specialize in your primary crafting and gathering professions once you've reached a high enough skill. You'll earn specialization points through a variety of activities and get to spend them on permanently improve different areas of your profession. This will be one of the main ways you can differentiate yourself from your peers, as there will be many areas of each profession to specialize in. More to come on this feature a bit later. So the way I'm guessing it's going to be is kind of like in BC, where you were a mace crafter or a sword crafter. Like you picked a specialization essentially, and I'm assuming this will be the same way. Maybe you could have more than one specialization if you're willing to put the work in. Maybe you do have to choose between some, but I think this is a really cool idea. If you're a blacksmith, are you an armor crafter or a weapon crafter? I think that's what it was, weaponsmith or armor smith. So these can be kind of cool things, and it does end up having to be a pretty interesting choice. The weapon crafter, for example, might make a lot more gold, but you yourself would personally only be able to make yourself weapons instead of armor. Whereas the armor crafter would be able to make yourself a full set of armor without needing anybody else's help. But you wouldn't have your, super powerful weapon, and, the other armor pieces won't be as desirable as like a high-end weapon, of course. So now we're going to talk about quality. This is something that other games have. And so World of Warcraft is adding quality. New to World of Warcraft is the concept of crafting quality, both for crafted items and many gathered reagents. This is not to be confused with rarity, such as common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary, which will remain unchanged and isn't directly related to crafting quality. Crafted equipment will have 5 levels of possible quality, while many other crafted and gathered items, such as potions and ores, will have 3 levels of quality. So some crafted and gathering items will have 3, and the rest will have like 5. Here we have a little picture here. We have tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Delineated by squares in different colors, with the 5 just being pentagon or whatever the shape is, 5-sided shape. I think it is pentagon. But for crafted equipment, quality will primarily modify the item level, with quality increasing it by a small amount. For example, a piece of crafted leveling gear might be item level 270 up to 280. Depending on quality. So the first quality would be 270 and the max quality would be 280. In all cases, the goal is to have quality matter enough for it to be worth your effort to achieve higher qualities without having the gains be so large that the lowest quality versions don't feel, worthless. They put worthwhile, but you do want them to feel worthwhile. You don't want them to feel worthless. For crafted items such as consumables that have quality, the effects of quality are a bit more varied. For most, higher quality will result in more powerful effect, but in some cases it might come in other forms of variation, such as longer duration, more charges, etc. Note that there is an expectation that low quality versions of these items will sell for less, but this will provide a niche for those who don't want to spend a lot of gold to be able to make use of the full suite of crafted items. It will also be cheaper to craft lower quality versions of these items for a variety of reasons. For reagents that have quality, that quality value will serve as a major input into crafting. Crafting with higher quality basic reagents will directly provide bonus skill when crafting with them. More on that below. Finishing reagents are a new type of reagent that can be used to improve aspects of the crafting process, increasing skill or crafting stats, for instance. Higher quality versions of these will have a stronger effect on crafting. And here's some brewed salt with different things here. 15%, 20%, 25% on 1, 2, and 3 quality. Lastly, please note that not all gathered reagents will have quality. The core reagents gathered by the primary gathering professions of mining, skinning, and herbalism will have quality, as well as reagents crafted by the primary professions, cloth bowls, metal alloys, etc. Other reagents such as meat, cloth, fish, and elements that can be gathered by anyone will not. Determining quality of the crafting process. The recipe difficulty will determine how hard it is to craft the recipe at a higher quality. Recipe difficulty will also change when you include optional reagents, which can modify up or down depending on the effects and quality, sometimes significantly. So there's a plus 15 recipe plus 10 recipe, and that's 1 versus 3. And guarantee critical strike and haste. So that's all the same. Your crafting skill is determined by your base skill or profession, but can be modified by a variety of factors, including the quality of reagents you use. Finishing reagents, profession gear with skill bonuses, various bonuses provided by consumables, and most significantly, your profession specialization. As you can see in the image below, your crafting UI will make it clear, based on all these factors, what quality you're expected to craft your item at. So it does show you the quality that you're going to craft it at. So this appears to be going to be crafted at a 5. So it is a guaranteed thing. It's not RNG, based on this at least. So you put the reagents in and it'll show you the quality you're going to get from the item. So it's a 4, almost a 5, I guess, would be the thing there. So you'd have to use something better. Amplify power, perhaps, to get that up to a 5, or finishing reagents here to get this up to a 5, I'd imagine. So you're at a 4, and you can almost get it to a 5. You just got to add some more stuff. So it does show you, and it also shows you how close you are, which is good as well to getting to the next thing. I like that it's not RNG, or at least, it's showing you what is going to happen. As you craft your item, there's a small amount of randomness added to your skill roll to represent the natural variation in your crafting execution. In addition, if you have any inspiration and new crafting stat, you have a chance to become inspired, gaining a significant amount of bonus skill during the craft. This means you may do so there is RNG. I guess I take back everything I just said. So it is only good RNG though. So it's like Titan forging or War forging, but for crafting. In the end, your final crafting skill will be compared against the recipe difficulty. If that skill is higher than the difficulty, you will craft the item at maximum quality. Otherwise, the quality will depend on where your skill falls comparatively. So let's just call this inspiration War forging or Titan forging, right? This is going to be both hated and welcomed. There are people who miss it, right? War forging, Titan forging, that kind of stuff. And there are people who still hate it, who hated it and still hate it. So this will definitely cause some arguments for sure. This inspiration thing. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I'm fine with it personally, but I can see some people not liking it. Additional crafting stats. So we talked about inspiration. Resourcefulness, you have % chance to use fewer tradable reagents. That's fine. That just saves you money. Multi-craft, you have a % chance to craft additional items. We've always had this with flasks and stuff like that, potions. They actually mentioned Potion Master here as well. Crafting is faster. Again, I think that's fine. So I think these 3 are fine, but the ones that actually make your item better, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if I like the inspiration when you have these other 3 that are fine, because they just are kind of not giving power. They're just kind of helping you out. I don't know. Bonus quality. I don't know. I don't know if I like inspiration. We'll see. Quality philosophy. So many players will want to craft the best, and the best will settle for nothing less. With that in mind, we want to share a bit about our philosophy for quality and difficulty tuning for recipes. For many earlier and lower tier recipes, such as leveling gear, starter potions, and more, right as you learn them, your general crafting skill may be low enough that you'll tend to craft them at a lowest quality. These recipes aren't meant to be difficult though, and gaining a higher skill in your profession or specializing in paths that make you generally better, these recipes will tend to become easy to make at max quality, even with low quality reagents. So you'll be able to make max quality of probably healing potion, for example, or the basic blacksmithing crafting gear that you can level up in. That kind of stuff will apparently be easy as you kind of max out your profession to have high quality, even though you're not using the high quality stuff. On the other hand, many of the recipes for high-end items, particularly gear with powerful optional reagents and top-tier consumables, will be extremely difficult to craft at the highest quality. In fact, the goal in these situations is that only the best of the best can make them at the highest quality, and only by using every tool at your disposal. What that means in practice, if you wanted to craft the most difficult recipes at max quality, for example, a chest with an item level equivalent to that of mythic raids, yes, this will be possible, you would likely need to fully specialize in crafting that type of gear, so probably armor smith. Use all top quality reagents, both required and optional, all of which would require extremely skilled gatherers and crafters as well. So you would have to have, so you're a max level armor smith, you need a max level miner and a max level engineer for, whatever, I'm making those up. to craft this chest, because you need to get a reagent from the engineer, you need to get a reagent from the miner, and then you use your blacksmithing, your armor smith, and then use the best profession gear you can find, which would also require higher specialized crafters to make. So in this case, you are the armor smith and the thing I'm talking about. So you would make the armor piece, and then you would get all these optional reagents from these other guys, and you would put those together. On top of that, you would either need to get lucky with inspiration, I don't like this, or use a valuable finishing gear. If it's either or, I guess it's fine. But if you have to get Titan Forging or War Forging, I don't like it. That boosts skill to guarantee the item is crafted at top quality. In other words, it'll take contribution of many skilled crafters and gatherers, as well as some luck or extra resources. They keep saying or. If it's or, it's fine. If you have to have luck, if you have to have War Forging or inspiration, I don't like it. That'll be the feedback that I give them. The goal here is to make sure crafting the best of the best or having it crafted for you will be no small feat, one you're proud of. Luck can be of much help to you if you want to focus on inspiration, but it's never necessary. Okay, it's fine then. If it's not necessary to have luck to get the highest item level, and you can do it without RNG, then I think that's fine. Having the RNG in there, I guess, is fun for some people, because there's some people who like it. You know, you might hate it, but there are some people who like it. I think that's fine. But as long as this stays true, but it's never necessary, then I think it'll be okay. We also hope that means crafting the highest quality items turns out to be very lucrative, while also being something that a large guild could coordinate to do on their own. Please note that the goal is not to have high-end gear cost anything remotely approaching the cost of top legendaries and Shadowlands. Okay, that's good. In general, we don't expect the base reagents to be nearly as expensive, and most of the effort to become a highly specialized will be through play, not spending gold. Even if for a time only a few players can make the best item at the highest quality, getting an item crafted at a lower quality will be much more achievable. Lower quality items will also only be slightly less powerful, in contrast to the tiers of legendaries and Shadowlands. Finally, you'll be able to get lower quality equipment recrafted to higher quality later by a more skilled crafter for minimal reagents. Okay, so recrafting is a thing as well. So this is good. So I like this. So what they're saying here is, I craft early on. So let's just use like easy item level numbers. So item level 90 is like whatever, the low end of the crafting, and item level 100 is the perfect crafted thing. So I could make myself, like, let's just say a 92 item level, so some reagents item, and then as more reagents, more people are available to help, whatever, you can upgrade your 92 to a 100. That's really good. That's actually progression gearing, because currently what you would have to do is you buy the 92 thing, and then you have to buy a whole new 100 thing as far as crafting goes, whether that's base item for legendaries or just regular gear. So I actually like recrafting, the idea of that a lot. Profession skilling philosophy. In Dragonflight, you can gain skill in your profession similar to the way you have in the past. There will be one main difference, though, for primary crafting professions. Instead of needing to max your skill to learn all recipes, you only need to learn a skill about halfway. The intent is that you won't feel the need to rush to max out your profession skill, but instead can slow down halfway. Content in knowing that you can learn any recipe you get your hands on. It should also mean that while you're filling crafting orders for others or making useful items for yourself, your guild, or to sell, they would continue to gain skill. This is really good. This is something that they never did. It was never this pronounced. It was never halfway. But before, you would have useful things that you could craft, like 10, 15, maybe even 50 levels below the max, and you would actually craft useful things for people, and that would also give you skill ups, right? So that was something that was more prominent in the game back in the day. Finally, it should mean many fewer items will be made just to skill up. This is a huge problem too, thus flooding the market with diminishing their value. This is true because much of the latter half of your profession skill will be earned through crafting high-end items that require specialty, or specially earned soulbound reagents. Since as an individual crafter you cannot earn enough of these on your own to max your profession, you often need to fill orders from others to maximize your profession skill. Professions working together, basically there. A few Dragonflight specific crafting details, powerful crafted equipment. Up to 5 of these crafted pieces can be equipped at once, with two-handed weapons counting as 2. Okay, so this is interesting. So I mentioned in BFA you could have 2, and maybe you could have a full set. You cannot have a full set, you can have 5. This is also poignant because tier sets are currently 5. If they roll forward with that, you could have 5. You could have all 5 of your tier set crafted. In theory, this is all just in theory. But two-handed weapons count as 2. So if you buy your two-handed weapon, I don't like this, right? If you do two-handed weapon because you're a rep paladin or a DK or a warrior, whatever, you do a two-handed weapon, then you can only have 3 pieces of crafted on top of it. So I don't know if I like that. But apparently, like a one-handed weapon also counts as 1, but you only need 4 for a 4 set. So this is a little bit interesting here. I think this is a little bit discriminatory against the classes. There's only a few classes that use two-handed weapons or specs. I think this is a little bit discriminatory. I know the two-handed weapons give a lot more power to it, to those specs, but I don't know if I like this. This is seems to be kind of like something that they thought of on the fly without actually thinking it through. All of them start at an item level range near normal raids, increasing with quality. Through earned optional reagents, they can be brought up to heroic and even mythic raid item levels, making them competitive with some of the best gear you can find. All are soulbound, so you either need to craft them yourself or have someone craft them through a work order. Each piece of crafted equipment will require several types of soulbound reagents. I mean, I feel like we already talked about this. Alchemy and files. So I think that's the last part. So let's do alchemy and files, and I'll give all my thoughts. You'll find many strange and wondrous concoctions to discover for alchemy. One of these is the standardization of file as an innovative replacement for the flask. Files work very similar to flasks, lasting through death and counting as both a battle and guardian elixir. The main difference is they tend to require about half the reagents to craft and last half as long, but 2 can be drank together to get the duration of a flask for extra flexibility. The reason this flexibility is beneficial is that a wide variety of files can be discovered, each with their own unique uses. The experienced adventurer may even find that they want to switch files from battle to battle, hence the added flexibility of a shorter duration. Just a few of many options can be seen below. Numbers very much not final. So you can have half flasks instead of flasks. I don't think this is necessary. This is like necessary, but okay. Maybe, I don't know. I guess for people who are trying to save gold or something, it could be useful. Note that because of a wide variety of files you may want to consider, you will not find a cauldron recipe for files in the Dragon Isles. You'll find one for most powerful craftable potions. Finally, you may be wondering about alchemists and file duration. Not to worry, alchemists who choose to specialize in files will discover this secret to making files last significantly longer for them. So if you don't know right now, alchemists flask lasts 2 hours for them instead of 1 hour. So files will last 1 hour instead of 30 minutes, essentially. So yeah, this is all the information they're putting out here. And overall, I think it's really cool and really good. I think the work order system's really good. I think all of the things except for the inspiration are really good. Resourcefulness, multi-craft, and crafting speed. I think these are really cool. I think inspiration is going to be the one that's a hot button issue. But if they say that you will not need inspiration, I think it'll be something that some people don't like, but it's ultimately okay. I think by having a lot of the things be soulbound, the reagents be soulbound, and having to do work orders, I think that's an interesting way to go about it. But of course, when everything's gold available, that just means you can just purchase those reagents with WoW tokens. So there's no kind of like, it doesn't appear to be any kind of like rep gating or anything for this. So it is a way to buy gear. Now there is a limit on it with the 5 pieces, 2 pieces being a two-handed weapon apparently. I definitely don't like that. The quality thing I think is going to be the thing. Just I if I have my pulse or my finger on the pulse of Warcraft community at all, I think the quality could be the thing that people don't like the most. Just because it is variance. Now it's not RNG, except for the inspiration thing. But if some people are getting a bunch of quality 5 through inspiration, and you have like quality 1, people aren't going to like that, of course. I like the idea of quality. It's something that other games use, but a lot of World of Warcraft players only play World of Warcraft and might not be as okay with this whole quality mechanic. And just to be clear, it's a very standard kind of mechanic in games in general. And even inspiration is, right? Like, Titan Forging wasn't a brand new mechanic in gaming. So I don't know. We'll see. They keep saying that you don't have to have it. I like the specializations. So armor, like I keep using armorsmith, weaponsmith because that's what I was in BC as a blacksmith. So like armorsmith, whatever. And an engineer can probably be a gunsmith, a helmsmith, engineer goggles or gogglesmith, something like that. And all that. That's why I like that as well. I think overwhelmingly this is positive and good. I think some of the stuff's unnecessary. Like I don't think the file thing's necessary at all. I think that's a little weird, honestly. The file thing. Obviously they're gonna make some of them strong, but then you're just gonna use them for every situation if they're brokenly strong. So you have the files. The work order system is honestly really, really good. And yeah, overall, it's really good. Hopefully people are able to give feedback for this and they're able to listen to it. Sometimes with these big new things that they put in, they kind of treat it like it's their baby and they don't want to change anything. I hope that they will maybe take a look at the quality, make sure it's not that it's explained really well to the player base. Again, this isn't a groundbreaking thing put into the game, into games in general. So hopefully that they make players understand that it's not just RNG based and you can just get quality 5 by having the mats to do quality 5. Like you don't have to get lucky to get quality 5. I think they have to really make that known and actually make it the case. They said it's the case, so I will just believe them. Yeah, I think adding all kinds of stuff to it. This is basically just making crafting a viable way to get endgame gear. It's only a few slots, 5 slots, but I guess that prevents you from buying a full set of endgame gear, right? Because this is all purchasable with gold via work order, because you can just set a work order for the item and pay gold for it. So 5 items that you can pay with gold for. Right now, that would be, right now with BOEs, it's like 3 or something like that. It depends what patch, of course, you're in. The number you can get for just BOEs and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's an interesting thing. It'll be really cool. I mean, people are going to use it too without buying it, right? Buying gold, right? People are actually going to just grab the mats or whatever that they can get and use them as well. And some people just have gold, so it's not going to be all about buying it. But I definitely see that being something that people talk about. I think that, you know, the team understands this, and that's why there's a cap on the amount, right? If you wanted to remove the cap on the amount of pieces you could wear, you would essentially need to add something that you have to personally grind in order. Like I say, rep. It doesn't have to be rep. It just has to be something that you have to personally grind. You have to personally have these soulbound reagents that you cannot buy no matter what, that you have to farm. And then you could potentially make something be, you know, fully equipable, all slots or whatever equipable. But they probably don't want to go down that route. People don't like to farm these days. It's, for the most part, that's just the way it is. Like, I know my guild, like, people would overwhelmingly rather buy a WoW token than farm stuff. I mean, we're people with lives here, you know, so I get it. But, so yeah, I think that's just the way it kind of has to be. But the purists of the game will be very much against it, I think. So, overwhelmingly, I think this is cool. You know, 8 out of 10, whatever. I would give it 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 without seeing it yet. But in theory, this is really cool. Hopefully it goes through very well. I think the work order thing, crafting orders, are going to be great no matter what. I think this is going to stand the test of time. And we'll see with everything else. But yeah, genuinely looking forward to seeing what this looks like in alpha/beta. And yeah, that's it for this one, guys. As always, I do ask you please subscribe to the channel. Helps me out so much. Other than that, everybody, have a good one.